So, am I live? Yeah, I'm live. So, hey, I got some really cool books in the mail from Benny Lewis and Amazon. So these are the brand new language hacking books he's been working on for the past 5 months, or no, not 5 months, a year or more, but kind of launching it and telling people about it publicly since May. So yeah, this has been about like 5 months of heavily promoting these. So we've got German. What else on here? We got Italian, Spanish, and French. So this looks really cool. I'm going to dive into these and start kind of figuring out what I think about these. So I've started to already look at some of the previews that are on the languagehacking.com website. So I already know like the first unit, the first mission is about like presenting yourself, talking about your likes, kind of why you're studying the language. So, but just like looking at kind of the layout looks pretty cool. So there's a beginning conversational guide. So I'm wondering like what level this should get up to at the end of going through this. But there's at least like 230 pages of content in here, at least for the French one. And so this is really cool. So for example, in the table of contents here, we got talking about yourself and then asking questions about your language partner, communication problems, describing future plans, talking about family and friends, food and drink, talking about the past, catching up with people you haven't seen in a while, describing things, and having like a first conversation. So yeah, these are kind of 10 units, and it's really manageable for like a beginning conversational level approach. And I really like that you have like some of the annotations on the side of Benny's advice, things that you could look into or use. And what else on here? Yeah, there's a lot of grammar tips, but not too intense. So it's not really overwhelming for native speakers, or sorry, not to, for language learners. And so I've read some of the first conversations. Maybe I'll read a couple of the new ones. Then, hey, salut, Vadim. Hi, Vadim, how are you doing? Thanks for joining me. And ok, so alors, pourquoi tu veux apprendre le français? Bon, je veux apprendre le français parce que je veux parler une belle langue et je veux comprendre la culture française. Je veux habiter en France. Je pense que le français est très intéressant. So, I mean, I've already read that one before, I think, but yeah, it's nice to see it in paper. What else on here? Yeah, you've got a lot of the verbs to start getting basic conjugations, and some other tips on here. What else? Things for hacking the language, and here is using Tarzan French. So yeah, I think that's a big thing that Benny is a proponent of like just starting to communicate no matter what, to just kind of say what you want to communicate, and if it works, it works, and if it's not completely 100% correct, that's not a problem, just as long as you can communicate. So that's cool. And yeah, note that comment tu t'appelles isn't exactly the same as what's your name, but more like how do you call yourself. So yeah, that's a kind of an easy way to learn a couple of these forms. And yeah, these little notes in the margin, they're kind of cool. I like it. And yeah, so there's a phrase bank here, and you have the audio files. I remember in Kris Broholm of Actual Fluency in his review. He was mentioning that on the Teach Yourself app, you can go on there and you can download the audio files. So though I think that's, as far as I know, that was for free. And I'll post a link to Kris's review on here. And I know also Lindsay Dow of Lindsay Does Languages has done a review, and Kerstin Cable of Fluent Language has also done a review. I'll post links to those as well, so people can see a little bit about the books. And I'll probably be writing a review as well. I mean, in addition to this kind of unboxing, going through the books. And but yeah, there's talking about the family. Yeah, you got the the mother, father, brother, sister, boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband. I was noticing the other day when I was doing like one of these 6 languages in 6 minutes videos, that like when I was doing my Spanish, my French, I could get into like brother-in-law, sister-in-law, like nephew, niece, cousin, aunt, uncle, and like even more detail. But then when I got to like my Russian or German or Italian, it was just all I knew was mom, dad, brother, sister, and it wasn't all that elaborated. So it'd be kind of cool to get little by little into more of that vocabulary. But there's a lot of useful expressions in here, a lot of exercises to work on. So I'm really looking forward to using these as teaching materials for some of the basic courses that I'm starting to do in the Facebook group, the language exchange group. And so that's the French one. Let me take a look at the Spanish one. So this is, again, very kind of glossy. You got the same structure here about kind of talking about yourself, talking about the other person, talking about family and friends, future plans, past, dining out, describing things, and finally like getting into a real conversation. So yeah, there's about 240 or so pages in here, just tons of content. I can't imagine just all the work, the research that went into this. So definitely kudos to Benny, to Lauren, to the Teach Yourself team. And I know I was reading something on Judith Mayer's Facebook page. She was mentioning something that she'd been helping out also with the German, probably for some feedback. So it's really a team effort. A lot of people have gone into this project. So it's really cool to see this kind of come together. And I'm really excited also beyond this to see kind of how far could this be expanded if the launch is very successful. I'd love to see one for Russian, for example, although I'm no longer at the beginning, but it'd be cool to kind of have something from Benny for Russian, because I know also Lauren has been studying Russian. I caught some of those videos recently, so that's kind of cool to watch. But yeah, there's a lot very, very well presented. The layout it's not overwhelming. The explanations are easy to work with. So for example, conversation in Spanish. ¿Sabes que aprendí español en la escuela durante un año? Ah, ¿en serio? Lo olvidé todo. Okay, so this person learned Spanish for a year in school. Seriously? But then they forgot everything. So, okay. That happens. And then telling a story using Tarzan speak. So that's a big thing. If focusing on the communication, I think there's a big thing about one of Benny's approaches. So yeah, this is really cool. I really feel like a little kid with kind of a Christmas gift, excited to kind of go through this stuff, and also excited to kind of teach this to people who want to learn the language from scratch, or review it for that. So it's so weird to be kind of flipping pages and just like, oh yeah, flipping this, but all the detail, all the hard work that went into making the content of each page, it's crazy. And it's let alone a lot of work to get one book, a language book, a language guide, but then do that 4 times. So I don't know how many years, how many months that took to kind of keep going over and over, getting everything kind of down perfect. So yeah, it's a lot of hard work that they've put into this, and it looks great. It really looks good. And looking at the acknowledgments, and I see on the Fluent in 3 months team, I see Kidichai. I've been communicating with him a little bit as I've been kind of picking up a couple of these copies for some friends and finding out about the bonuses and stuff. But so here's the Italian. So yeah. Let's get into some of the conversations I've done. Da quando studi italiano? Studio italiano da 2 settimane. Solo 2 settimane? Parli molto bene italiano. No, non è vero. Sei molto gentile. Grazie. So yeah, this person's been learning Italian for like 2 weeks, and they're getting some compliments. So that's kind of cool. And yeah, da quando? So like how long? And then yeah, getting to the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are many ways to sign off or say goodbye to somebody. You could say ciao, ci vediamo, alla prossima, a dopo, a presto, a domani, a lunedì. So yeah, there's a lot of useful little tips that are in the margin for these ways to kind of say goodbye to somebody. And I call the fear of making mistakes perfectionist paralysis. Yeah. Perfectionism is your enemy because it will hold you back from actually communicating. If you wait to say everything perfectly, you'll never say anything at all. Yeah, that's a really helpful tip as well. I think I've spent years before I really got into just living abroad of kind of, I want my French to be perfect. And then eventually I finally got to Paris and just kind of said, you know what, I'm just going to speak. So yeah, this is I really like these books. They look really well polished. The layout's really nice. So I think people mentioned the ink being kind of easy on the eyes, of kind of blue, black. It's really nice. So they've done a lot of hard work to get this, and it looks really cool. And finally, some of the German on here. So this is seit wann lernst du Deutsch? Ich lerne seit 2 Wochen Deutsch. Ja, 2 Wochen? Du sprichst schon sehr gut Deutsch. Nein, das stimmt nicht, aber es ist nicht, danke. So again, the same basic conversation. You've been studying German for 2 weeks. You speak very well. So I think, yeah, once you get a layout and once you get a structure that kind of works, then it's kind of just kind of translating and adapting a lot of this content into these other languages. So yeah, I look really forward to seeing how this project develops for these other languages, because it's kind of like the sky's the limit once you have something that works, which this looks like it's probably a pretty good model for getting somebody to kind of practice conversational skills and not spend so much time on like theory and get bogged down by just stuff that's not going to be useful. So this looks good. Yeah, I can't wait to use these in classes and help people out. So real cool. Also, wir müssen natürlich das Haus am Checkpoint Charlie besuchen. So they're looking for the checkpoint Charlie. So it's kind of walking around Berlin. I like it. It's cool. A lot of detail in here, and it's not just like a 100-page little expressions or something like that. It's actually a way to kind of teach the language, get people conversational, get them working with language exchange partners, language teachers. So I think it's a really cool approach on here. Yeah. Cool. Well, those are my new favorite books. And just one more time. So yeah, I've got all of these on my shelf to put. So that'll be kind of cool to go through these. So thank you very much, Benny, Lauren, the team at the Fluent 3 months, and the italki team and Teach Yourself. So yeah, you guys have done a really cool job with this stuff. So good luck with the launch, and so I think this will be pretty cool. Take care.